Alan, thanks for joining us here at the Weather Channel. Lisa Moser, Marshall Cease, Mike Seidel, who was sitting in Washington, D.C. yesterday, back home. We got some snow totals for folks up there.
2 to 6 inches in the Northeast to tell you about. Also, we'll be telling you about some rain that's expected coming up. We've got another system moving in towards the West Coast, and more rain for those folks out there.
Yep, looks like one right after another, about 2 days spacing between them.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at your water vapor imagery and those snowfall totals from yesterday. Show you those in just a moment. Look at the little swirl in the clouds just off of the New England coastline. That's the remnants of that storm from yesterday. Still snowing this morning around Falmouth, but that's about it. Winding down now. In LaGuardia got about 3 inches of snow from this system, and out at West Hampton got about 4 inches. Didn't look like it was going to be quite that far north, but indeed it did bring wrap around the moisture into that colder air. So we got several inches of snow there as well. Big total was Harrisburg, Virginia. They got about 8 inches of snow from this system, 7 inches out at Dulles. Dover, Delaware picked up about 6, Philly about 4, Baltimore, Maryland 4. Philadelphia, that takes you almost 3 times what you had before yesterday began. Okay, back to the water vapor imagery. We have another system about ready to make it onshore in the west. Have another one down here in West Texas. That swirl of the clouds over in the Four Corners region. As that moves to the east, it taps some moisture out of the Gulf of Mexico, and we're getting some moisture working its way into this system. So we'll get some rain around Junction, Texas. Little upper level disturbance going to scatter some flurries right across Iowa, northern Illinois, and Indiana today as it tracks to the east. So here's what you got. High pressure at the surface dominating the weather picture. But we've got some upper level systems that are moving through the southern branch of the polar jet stream, and as they move across the Southland, we see a mixed bag of kinds of precipitation depending upon when it hits and what the temperature is at that time. Currently, it could be some sleet underneath this area of precipitation. Right now, Junction, Texas is reporting some light rain. However, it is cold enough for some sleet there. And then as that presses to the east, it depends on how cold it's going to be overnight in Alabama, Mississippi, and Georgia, because there could be some sleet as it moves to the east. And Lisa's going to tell you all about that in the forecast series coming up in just a minute. Meanwhile, in the northeast, we've got clear skies over Maine and northern New England. There's the big weather system from yesterday, still wrapping around a little bit of snow out around Falmouth, Massachusetts. Some very light snow. Boston didn't pick up anything from this. To the south, New Jersey, Salisbury, New Jersey, Atlantic City, New Jersey, Salisbury, Maryland, did pick up several inches of snow. For the most part, about 2 to 4 inches of snow fell from that system. It's 23 in Boston this morning. New York is at 28 degrees. You can see some Arctic air in place to the north. Caribou, 19 degrees below zero. There's your precipitation right across southern portions of Rhode Island out into near the Boston area, but Falmouth reporting some light snow. Boston, you might see some light snow, but you're right on the fringes of it. These flurries around Ottumwa, Iowa, and Muscatine over into the Rock Island, Moline area is all due to an upper-level disturbance that's going to be moving to the east. We don't expect significant accumulation from this, but it's certainly going to be a nuisance. 23 degrees at Des Moines. It's 9 in Minneapolis, 9 degrees in International Falls, and Chicago is at 23 degrees. In the south, going to see some clouds in the southeast due to some moisture in the upper levels of the atmosphere out ahead of that system and tapping some Gulf moisture. So it looks like it's going to be temperatures in the upper 40s, some high and mid-level clouds, and out in Texas, we're going to see the rain on the increase. It's 43 in New Orleans right now. Atlanta's a chilly 38 degrees, 46 in Jacksonville. Miami, foggy, about a quarter of a mile visibility and 70 degrees for you. And in Texas, we've got some rain around. And on Junction, Texas, they're reporting some light rain. Some of this is not touching the ground. It will get heavier as the day goes on today. This morning, we'll be looking for some of that sleet to see if, in fact, that materializes. Out in the Pacific Northwest, around the Olympic Peninsula, fog is a major problem. 29 degrees at Seattle, 21 at Reno. There you have the current picture. And for the forecast series, here's my partner, Lisa.
Okay, well, good morning again, everybody. We've got some milder conditions coming up for much of the U.S., but for today we do have a couple of things, a couple of areas that will be a problem still. This morning, if you're waking up in New Bedford, Massachusetts, you've got cloudy skies and light snow associated with this old system that's now currently moving off to the Atlantic. And by midday, we should see some of the clouds break apart, maybe even a little sunshine in there, but definitely the snow will be ending by late morning and midday. We are looking at another system down towards Old Mexico. Not a lot of moisture, as Marshall mentioned, working into this system, but we do expect the precipitation to pick up. This morning, temperatures towards Abilene are kind of close to that freezing point, 33 degrees, but no precipitation that far north in Texas yet. But that if it does, within the next couple of hours, reach a little further north, we could possibly see maybe a little mix in there. But right now it is rain. It's very cold rain, however. Cold also to the north, where high pressure is beginning to move in over the northern Rockies, and yet another system that will be coming in. So towards Oregon, Washington, and Northern California, look for the clouds to just keep pouring in today. And as the clouds do thicken and the ceilings of those clouds lower, we are going to see more of the rain come in, and that means snow in the higher elevations, especially for the Cascades. We're going to watch this system, a little two-part energy going on here, but we expect most of the energy to track a little further to the southeast. By tomorrow morning, what we're going to see is this low on that southwesterly track and then moving into the Sierra Nevada area, and that means the snow will be moving into the higher terrains there. We'll watch this energy along this frontal boundary to the south. We'll see some lifting here, and keep in mind we have high pressure over the Ohio Valley area, and that too will give us
Good morning, everyone. Happy Sunday morning. 10 minutes before the top of the hour, we'll look at your winter weather update. Lisa Moser and me, Marshall Cease, and Ralph Stoltz. We're all watching the weather for you this morning. Ralph, technical director, has been watching this storm just like we have that began last Wednesday, pulled out of the Rockies, swept across Kansas with several inches of snow, as much as 6 to 12 out in south central Kansas, and then it tracked right across the Ohio River Valley. Brought some pretty significant snows to, LaGuardia got 3 inches, got about 8 inches in Harrisburg, Virginia. Here's some of those totals for you. Dover, Delaware got 6, Philadelphia picked up 4, Baltimore, Maryland picked up 4, and this is a far cry from the winter last year where you had over 100 inches of snow in some locations in the Northeast. But still, we had some significant snow from the system as it exited. As it's exiting, we're still seeing a little bit of snow out around the Cape and down through southern portions of Rhode Island. You can still get some accumulation there, maybe 1 to 3 inches, although it's light currently. And that's about it. After this morning, it's pretty much gone. Wintry travel only in the east, and then with an approaching system out west, we'll see the Cascades pick up some snow. Through midnight tonight, they might get 1 to 3 inches, and then after midnight, more significant snows as the storm begins to move through California toward the Great Basin. It was colder than normal yesterday from Texas northward to the Central Plains, also parts of the southeast, 5 to 10 degrees below normal. It was well above normal down in Florida, though. Melbourne even broke a record yesterday, record dating back to about 1984. I think Melbourne hit 85 degrees. It's 85 down at Miami, 82 degrees up at Daytona Beach, 33 in Chicago, 30 in Des Moines, Iowa. Temperatures in the 20s in Nebraska and Kansas yesterday. These were the highs, and that was below normal for this time of year for your highs. Wind chill right now is 0 at Minneapolis, 22 at Chicago, 2 below out in West Kansas. It feels like 27 degrees in Atlanta. And the wind chill forecast for tomorrow, 0 to 20 degrees below 0 in the northern tier states, 20 to 40 here. We're going to get into one of those patterns, have been in it and will for the next 2 or 3 days, where temperatures are going to be pretty much around normal to the north, a little below normal to the south through the beginning of the week. We'll take you through the beginning of the week with the forecast series now. This is a new storm. This is the one that moved out of the Great Basin in the Four Corners region yesterday. That low is opening up the Gulf of Mexico a little bit, and we're getting some moisture spreading in the upslope regions of West Texas, and got some very light rain around Randolph Field at San Antonio. Austin reported some rain. That has stopped now. Houston has reported some light rain. This storm system winds down, heads out to sea. Scattered flurries across Iowa, Illinois, Indiana, and Ohio today, and generally overcast skies for the eastern half of the country, except for northern New England.